Yes, you have, you've read.
Right there, go.
I know.
Into stealing an election, and that is a problem, and we need to stop it.
Okay, I almost am afraid to ask another question.
Ask the
Yes,
second
yes,
question.
you have,
I'm just,
you've read the audits,
preach
you've
on.
seen them, we
This is
both
just
read the
what
audits.
they know me, so.
Yeah, I know, I'm glad we both
they
read the
know.
audits, I just
I'm
keep
very
putting it out
passionate.
there, that in fact,
Yes,
it
thank
is part of the Michigan election law, that we
Yes.
have audits, and those audits have been done in recent elections, and they'll be done after this one as well. And, I just wanna put that out there, and then also, one of the things you said.
You're talking
and
about
we
a
agree with you.
post-election,
That's
yes,
right.
but
That's what the law says.
they're insufficient
I
for,
appreciate your
they're
position.
insufficient for what the purpose is. I'm asking for a forensic audit of the election itself, looking for the fraud and illegal votes.
Yes, and I'm wondering why the Trump campaign didn't want to do a recount, which would have been the normal process.
Why
But
would
let me
you
ask my second
recount
question.
71% of the votes cannot be recounted?
You know what, that's a problem, I want to agree
I'm
with you
just
on that,
telling you,
I'm trying to
why
build up
waste-
to agreeing with you.
Why waste your money and time? It costs money to do a recount. Why waste your money when 71% of the votes that you need to look at physically cannot be even seen?
Okay,
That
and that goes up to my next
29%,
question.
I'm not paying $2 million or $4 million for 29% of the ballots that can be counted, because the rest of them cannot be counted.
That's one of the reasons why I voted against the changes to the recall law that made it so onerous and difficult for people who wanted to look into these issues.
Open up
However,
the ballots.
The
Yes, sir.
issue that you mentioned, and I just want to highlight for the committee, because I really agree with you on this, is that, when you have a situation where there's a discrepancy at that precinct, those precincts should be recountable. And we need to find a way to make that so. And I think that what you're gonna find here in Lansing is that there are a whole lot of Democrats who are gonna agree with that. We want these ballots to be looked at, we want elections to be run in a safe and secure manner. But the problem is that this legislature has been controlled by Republicans since the 80s. The state Senate has been controlled by the Republicans since the 80s. And so my question to you is, after the 2016 election, when we saw the problems that we saw that you just hinted at, when we had agreement apparently between a lot of folks about the fact that these precincts should be recountable, why did we see no changes in the law to address any of these issues while we had a Republican governor, a Republican House, and a Republican Senate?
So I'd be happy to answer that question. That's a very simple one. We have sufficient laws on the books. So my brothers and sisters in the Republican GOP has done their due diligence to pass laws, make laws. The enforceability of the laws, however, because in Grand Traverse County, we're not having this problem. In certain counties, that Van Buren County, we're not having this hot mess problems that we have in Pontiac and in Flint and in Detroit. We don't have that. So if you want Republicans to pass more laws, why don't the Democrats in their cities enforce the doggone election laws so that we can have fair and just elections? Because I just gave you the law. It's a felony for me to give my friend, next door neighbor, my ballot. It's a misdemeanor for me to give it to them, and it's a felony for them to turn it in. A felony. It is not enforced. And we have situations in the inner cities and these Democrat-controlled areas, because that's what we're talking about. Democrat-controlled areas cannot seem to balance their elections. And because they have been habitual violators of the inability to balance their election because of either ignorance, apathy, lack of leadership, or lack of caring about their election integrity. Because if you add more laws to the books, you still have people who will not follow the law. And if you don't enforce the law, if you don't bring in Republicans to say, I am going to be a poll worker, if you need 5 Republicans in the building, make sure 5 workers are. Contact the Michigan Republican Party. Ask them for 5 people or 25 people or 200 people to work it. And then when the challengers come in, you protect them. You don't put them out. You don't call the police on them. You're supposed to protect them according to the law. If you follow the law in the urban Democratic controlled areas, then we would not be here today. I certainly wouldn't be here. But in 25 years that I've been monitoring elections, working with the Secretary of State, the last 8 doing election integrity, it's been a hot mess in these same Democrat-controlled areas. We don't need any more laws. We need to enforce the laws, and we need to open up the doggone ballot boxes.
But we are agreed that we need to change the laws on
Thank you.
recounting precincts. We do
Thank
agree
you.
that we need to change the law on recounting precincts, right?
Pardon?
We should change the law on recounting precincts. That was the
We're
subject of my
not, we're
question.
not changing
I mean,
the
you went
laws
on
for
a nice political
recounting.
screed, but the
No,
question
no.
was about that specific law, allowing the recounting of imbalanced precincts.
No, we're
Let's
not,
change that law.
we're not trying to talk about recounting for imbalanced precinct. The balancing of the precinct can come at the counting board level. You think that the ballots come out and then all of a sudden it's given in and locked up in a box. It is not. Once it leaves the precinct, it goes to a counting board. They have the full authority to open up that ballot box because it's not balancing. If the seal is broken, if this is broken, they can reseal it at the counting board. There is a law with the counting board, and it's lazy in the inner cities of color, of people who look like me, are not doing their job. And it needs to be done so that we can count 100% of the precincts instead of 29%. That's what needs to be done, is to make sure people are doing their job. You won't get that in an audit. What you will get in the current fake audits that we've been having, and these fluff audits that we've had right now, you will get, well, these can't be recounted, so okay, so we can't do that. Here's what we can. You will get an audit of the 29% in Detroit that can be recounted. That's all you're gonna get. Because we need to see the 71% of the fraud that has been locked up and will be destroyed after so many years. That's what we need to see.
Thank you,
I'll take
Senator.
any other questions.
Thank you, Senator Irwin. Senator Lucido.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and